Okay, number 2. Whoops. Okay, solve a on 4 minus 2 equals 2a minus 1 on 5. All right, so looking at this, the thing that complicates this is the fact that we've got fractions. And they're not even fractions with the same denominator. If they were, that'd be easy. We could just multiply everything by the denominator and that would get rid of the fractions. Because remember that property that when you multiply a fraction by its denominator, all you end up with is the numerator. Here, our fractions do not have the same denominator, so we need to do something else. One thing that we could do, look, we could approach it in a couple of ways. I think this way will probably work the best for us. Our first term there, a is divided by 4. A over 4 minus 2. So if we multiplied everything by 4, that would get rid of that fraction. Momentarily, it's going to look a little more complicated, but it'll all sort of work itself out, at the end. And then over on the right-hand side, we've got 2a minus 1 all over 5. So 2a minus 1 has been divided by 5. So to undo that, we can multiply everything by 5. So really in this question, we've got to multiply everything by 4, and we've got to multiply everything by 5. Now, if we're multiplying everything by 4 and everything by 5, we're actually multiplying by 20. So we could do this in two ways. We could do it in 2 steps. We could multiply by 4 and then multiply by 5. Or we could just do it in 1 step, which is multiply by 20. And notice that 20 is the common denominator we'd have. If we had a fraction with 4 and 5 as the denominator, then we would have a common denominator of 20. So I'm going to multiply, we'll do it in 1 step, and we'll multiply everything by 20 here. Okay, so every term needs to be multiplied by 20. And what we know by doing that, we're going to get rid of all the fractions, not just those on 4 or 5, but everything, okay? So when you multiply a fraction, it's the numerator that is going to change it. We're multiplying a fraction by a whole number, 20. So let me just do a little example over here on the right-hand side. If I had 3/4 and I multiplied by 20, the thing to remember is that could be written as 3/4 times 20 on 1. So when we multiply, remembering that we multiply the top and then the bottom, we'd get 60 on 4. So if you compare that answer with the original thing, or the original question, what's changed? The denominator stayed the same. It's the top that's changed. We've got 60. Okay, so when you're multiplying a fraction by a whole number, it's really just the numerator that changes, because in effect your denominator is with the whole number is just 1, so that's not going to affect the denominator at all. Okay, so we've got a on 4 and we're multiplying by 20, so it's the top that's going to change from a to 20a. Now the denominator will stay the same. We'll see what happens to that in a minute. Then the next term, minus 2 times 20, that's minus 40. Then, now we've got to be careful here because there's more than one term. In the top it's 2a minus 1. All of that we're multiplying by 20. So if I want to multiply all of it by 20, I need to put it in brackets temporarily. So 20 lots of 2a minus 1. And again, all over 5. So momentarily it looks a bit more complicated than it was. But it's all going to simplify nicely, because 20a over 4, well, the 4 will cancel. It'll go into the 25 times. So that's just going to become 5a on 1, which is just 5a. We've still got minus 40. Then over here, 20 on the top, 5 on the bottom. 5 will go into 20 4 times. And so that really becomes 4 outside of 2a minus 1. Okay. Alright, so that is starting to now look a little bit more manageable. So the next step here, I've got brackets. So let's expand those brackets. That's not going to change the left-hand side. But the right-hand side is now going to be 4 times 2a is 8a, and 4 times minus 1 is minus 4. Alright, so that's looking better. Now I do my sort of swapping around and get the a's on one side and the numbers on the other. So the 8a as it comes across the equal sign will now become a minus 8a, so I'll have 5a minus 8a. I'll have minus 4. Then the minus 40 as it comes over becomes positive 40. And so 5a minus 8a is minus 3a. Minus 4 plus 40 is 36. And so then divide by minus 3 and we're going to get a equals minus 12. And that is the second question.